Ground effect vehicles, also known as ekranoplans, are a sort of hybrid between airplanes and ships. They move over water without actually touching it. The International Maritime Organization classifies them as ships, but they are more closely related to airplanes in terms of their design and capabilities. But, in fact, they derive their unique high-speed capabilities from the fact that they skim the surface of the water at a height of between 1 and 5 meters. They take advantage of an aerodynamic principle called ground effect. The Lun-class ekranoplan, also called Project 903, is the only ground effect vehicle to ever be operationally deployed as a warship. It was designed by Rostislav Alexeyev in 1975. The Lun-class ekranoplan was developed on the basis of the experimental KM ekranoplan, which was nicknamed the Caspian Sea monster. The KM ekranoplan was designed by Rostislav Alexeyev in 1964, and it was the first ekranoplan to be built. It was a large, experimental vehicle that was designed to test the principles of ground effect flight. The KM ekranoplan was nicknamed the Caspian Sea monster because of its size and its unusual appearance. The Lun-class ekranoplan was based on the design of the KM ekranoplan, but it was much larger and more powerful. The Lun-class ekranoplan is a fascinating vehicle. It's not quite an airplane, not quite a ship, but something in between. It flies using lift generated by the ground effect acting on its large wings when within about 4 meters above the surface of the water. The ground effect occurs when flying at an altitude of only a few meters above the ocean or ground. Drag is greatly reduced by the proximity of the ground, preventing the formation of wingtip vortices, thus increasing the efficiency of the wing. This effect does not occur at high altitude. Because of the ground effect, ekranoplans can fly at much lower altitudes than traditional aircraft, which makes them more stealthy and difficult to detect by radar. They can also reach speeds of up to 550 km per hour. The Lun-class ekranoplan was designed for military use. It was armed with 6 anti-ship missiles and could carry up to 137 troops. It was also capable of taking off and landing in stormy conditions, with waves of up to 2.5 meters. The Lun-class ekranoplan was never widely used, but it remains a fascinating and innovative vehicle. It's a glimpse into the future of transportation, and it's possible that we'll see more ekranoplans in the years to come. The name Lun comes from the Russian word for the harrier, a bird of prey that is known for its low-altitude flying. Second Lun-class ekranoplan was partially built in the late 1980s. While it was being constructed, it was redesigned as a mobile field hospital for rapid deployment to any ocean or coastal location. It was named the Spazitel, which means rescuer in Russian. The Spazitel was designed to carry up to 500 patients and 80 medical personnel. It was also equipped with a variety of medical facilities, including operating rooms, a laboratory, and a pharmacy. The Spazitel would have been able to deploy to any ocean or coastal location, and it would have been a valuable asset in the event of a disaster. However, the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 and the cancellation of military funding led to the halting of construction of the second craft. The ekranoplan was a massive vehicle. It was 73.8 meters long, 44 meters wide, and 19.2 meters tall. That's longer than an Airbus A380 Super Jumbo and almost as tall. It had a maximum takeoff weight of 380,000 kilograms, which is about the same as 600 cars. The Lun-class ekranoplan was powered by 8 Kuznetsov NK-87 turbofans, mounted on forward canards, each producing 28,600 lbf of thrust. This gave the Lun a maximum cruising speed of 550 km per hour. The Lun also had a flying boat hull with a large deflecting plate at the bottom to provide a step-forward takeoff. This allowed the Lun to take off and land in relatively shallow water, which made it well suited for operating in the Caspian Sea. The Lun was a truly impressive vehicle. It was the largest ekranoplan ever built, and it was capable of great speed and stealth. It was also armed with 6 anti-ship missiles, making it a formidable weapon. Ekranoplan had a range of 1,500 kilometers. This was determined by the amount of fuel it could carry. The range of an ekranoplan is affected by a number of factors, including the weight of the vehicle, the speed of the aircraft, and the altitude at which it is flying. The ground effect, which is the aerodynamic principle that allows ekranoplans to fly at low altitudes, also affects the range of an ekranoplan. The ground effect increases the lift and reduces the drag of an ekranoplan, which allows it to fly farther with the same amount of fuel. The Sea Monster was a very large and heavy vehicle, so its range was limited. However, it was also capable of flying at high speeds, which helped to compensate for its limited range. The ekranoplan was armed with 6 P-270 Moskit anti-ship missiles. These missiles were capable of flying at speeds of up to Mach 2.8 and had a range of up to 600 kilometers. The P-270 Moskit missiles were the most powerful anti-ship missiles in the Soviet arsenal at the time. They were designed to destroy large warships, such as aircraft carriers. The missiles were also capable of flying at low altitudes, which made them difficult to detect by radar. The Lun-class ekranoplan was a formidable weapon. It was capable of carrying a large number of missiles and flying at high speeds. This made it a threat to any naval force that it encountered. This monster was also armed with 4 23mm Pi-23 turrets. These turrets were mounted on the sides of the hull, and they were each equipped with 2 cannons. The cannons were capable of firing 2,400 rounds per minute, and they had a range of up to 2 kilometers. The 23mm Pi-23 turrets were used for self-defense. They were not powerful enough to destroy large warships, but they could be used to shoot down enemy aircraft or missiles. The turrets were also effective against small boats and other surface targets. 23mm Pi-23 turrets were a valuable addition to the armament of the ekranoplan. They made the Lun more versatile and gave it a better chance of surviving in combat. The Lun-class ekranoplan program was cancelled in the early 1990s. Only one Lun was ever completed, and it is now on display in Derbent, Russia. Ekranoplan was a very large and complex vehicle, and it required a lot of fuel to operate. This made it very expensive to use, and it was not clear that it would be a cost-effective weapon system. Ekranoplan was only designed to operate in relatively calm waters. In stormy weather, the waves would be too high for the Lun to fly, and it would be grounded. This made it difficult to use the Lun in many areas of the world, and it was one of the reasons why the program was eventually cancelled. The failure of the Lun-class ekranoplan was a setback for the development of ekranoplans.